Hi, it's the No Vacancy News robot here again. Did you know? There are a record high 6,352 hotel projects currently under construction worldwide. That's 1,172,591 rooms.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood Glenjamin here with another episode of the No Vacancy Podcast with me, Glenn Hausman. I hope you're all doing okay today. I know I'm excited and delighted to have each and every one of you here with me every single week here on the No Vacancy Podcast, episode 171. Can you believe that? We've been going 171 weeks straight without taking even a single week off. That's right. Over 3 full years of shows coming right at you, and we are not going to stop for all time. That's right. Long after I'm dead, we're going to still be delivering these shows to you. Wow, that was really a more roast thing to say. But anyway, I'm really excited to have every single one of you here with me today. I just got back from attending my first conference of conference season, and that is with the good folks over at Red Roof, who does a great show every other year. You know, I really like that conference. Such nice people over there, and they're doing such great things. And I want you all to be on the lookout for a great series of videos I'm putting together right now, where I interviewed some of the owners of Red Roof. Plus, I got a great video up already with Andy Alexander, the president of Red Roof, and I got another one coming with their chief development officer, Hugh, which I should be posting imminently. Phil, if you're listening to this, I'm really looking forward to getting that video up. I just wanted to wait because the video with Andy is doing so well. I didn't want to step on his toes and give you guys a chance to be heard and seen out there. So, okay, you know, of course, each and every week, I keep telling you guys, you got to be focusing on my good friends over at Almo Hospitality, and they need to be your go-to partner for stuff. So I've been focusing on different things that they do each and every week to help get you a better understanding of why these guys rock. And this week, I want to talk to you really quick about their AV services for integrations, particularly the ability to give guests TV, internet, and all of that kind of good stuff. These guys, through their no-box AV services for integrations, they can give you that free-to-guest TV, internet, and voice that you are looking for at prices that will blow you away. I know that we featured them on a special breakout show before where we kind of went through this, but it's really essential that you reach out to the good folks at Almo and learn more, because I am talking about saving you hundreds of dollars every single month without you having to do a darn thing. Now, who doesn't want to save some money right there, right? So I encourage you to go check out my great friends over at Almo Hospitality. You could find them at hospitality.almoproav.com. That's hospitality.almoproav.com, or, of course, just send me an email, glenn@rouse.media. I'll put you guys in touch with them. Find me at Traveling Glenn online. I'll put you in touch with them. So if you want to do that or research them more, go to hospitality.almoproav.com. I wouldn't be behind these guys if I didn't fully believe in their ability to save you money while also doing business in a highly ethical sort of way. So again, I want to welcome you guys all for being here this week. We're going to do things a little bit differently, I think, this week. I'm not going to do a first feature interview with somebody. I just want to get right into the good folks over at Red Roof because I had such a good time talking with them this week. And, you know, we're getting ready for fall conference season here, so I'm just trying to switch things up a little bit. Next week, I'm really hoping to have a great show for you. I'm going to be heading down with our good friends over at AHOA and attending their Legislative Action Summit. So hopefully next week I'll be able to grab some great videos with hopefully some congressional representatives if they're not too scared to talk to little old Glenn over here. And then I will hopefully get some great podcasts with maybe some reps that we've elected in office, or some reps that some of you folks out there elected to the AHOA board, and maybe some of the executives over at AHOA too. Really looking forward to putting that together. I even understand that Chip Rogers, current AHLA CEO and former AHOA CEO, is going to be there too. Love to get him back on the show. I haven't had a chance to talk to Chip since he took on this new role, so it'll be very exciting. So we're going to get really in deep next week. I'm looking forward to all about hotel industry politics and what that means on Capitol Hill. Okay, so let's focus on getting right into our interviews. I speak with Andy Alexander, the president of Red Roof, while also talking with Phil Hugh, the chief development officer of Red Roof. Really good guys. I think you're going to have fun learning along with this particular conversation. I hope you have a great time listening, and we'll be right back after this ad from, interestingly enough, Red Roof. All right, this has all been wonderful, but now I'm on my way. See you guys later. Hey everybody, Glenn here. So listen to this. According to a recent survey, Red Roof's franchisee satisfaction is at an incredibly impressive 90%. And, I think the number one reason why is because Red Roof actually listens to franchisees. That is so important. They have a franchise advisory council, and their members serve as a liaison between franchisees in their area and the Red Roof franchising executive team. Amit Patel, a council member who owns a property in Irondale, Alabama, said, unlike other brands, the advisory council isn't just a formality. We have a strong voice and are truly involved in all the decisions. Member Sheetal Patel of Kingman, Arizona, explained that the council helps because everyone keeps on the same page, and that's really important. Now, Mr. Patel, he converted to Red Roof because he knew the consistent quality would help upgrade his customer base, and he's already seeing a difference. And you can too. Now, quoting my event Patel from Saraland, Alabama, he's got multiple brands in her portfolio, and she says other franchisors can't hold a candle to Red Roof when it comes to responsiveness. I'm on a first-name basis with senior management. All of this, to me, proves genuine relationships, real results. It's far more than a slogan. So learn all about the advantages of partnering with Red So learn all about the advantages of partnering with Red Roof. To learn all of the advantages of partnering with Red Roof, visit redrooffranchising.com. That's redrooffranchising.com, or call 888-473-8861. Tell them Glenn sent you. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the No Vacancy Podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. Man, am I excited and delighted to have each and every one of you today. And I am excited, even though I'm in the hot and humidity of Nashville, Tennessee, having a great time with the good folks over at Red Roof for their annual conference. And I have with me Mr. Andy Alexander, president of Red Roof, and Mr. Phil Hugh, chief development officer. Guys, how are you today?
We are great. We've had a great morning.
Yeah, you certainly have. I got to tell you guys, I had so much fun during your general session. I've never said this on a microphone before. I enjoy some other companies' general sessions, but that 3 hours, when someone like me who goes to all these conferences, sees that on a schedule, I get freaked out. I don't have the patience for 3 hours. I can't handle it. But it was so awesome and so freaking funny the way that you guys do these skits and deliver the information in a fun and easily digestible fashion. Really, really cool.
Yeah, we began this 5 brand conferences ago,
right,
and it keeps our franchisees and corporate staff coming back and just loving to be at the event. And it really leads to, I know we're going to have some time to talk about the relationships we form, but you reform those relationships particularly when, well, let's just say it, we make fun of ourselves a little bit. There's some humor involved, and sometimes it's intended and sometimes it's not. But people really just love the business theater concept, and it's something that we do our conference every 2 years. They ask us to do it every year. We would collapse and not be able to do our job. So we're sticking to every 2 years, but it is definitely a highlight for the brand.
Yeah, I certainly like the every other year type of strategy. I think it keeps people fresh and more interested in it, as opposed to having to go, oh, I got to do that thing.
Well, then Phil runs again. in the off season, as we'll call it. Phil has a great program and something we're rolling out special this year, right,
Yeah,
Phil?
it's going to be exciting. I mean,
Let's hear all about it.
I got to go back to it, though, Glenn. 6 years ago when I joined the company, and he's like, oh, no, here's how we do it. I'm like, yeah, right.
Right.
But Have you ever seen such an audience?
No,
The place was full.
It was unbelievable.
No one left.
Right.
They were engaged.
Yeah.
And it was, so it's pretty amazing.
Seriously, I'm getting older now, so I need to take a little break in the middle of it. And I felt like, am I allowed to leave? Because nobody was leaving. And
you're going to miss something. You're going to miss it.
Oh my God! Yeah. So I'm sorry for everybody listening to sound like such a kiss ass, but I had so much fun at the general session. Maybe it's because I haven't been to one in a while. It's a little bit of summer, but really great job, guys, because I learned a lot and I laughed a lot while learning. And I think that there's a good lesson to just apply all across the board. If we could have fun while doing stuff, I think it makes people listen more, focus more, and makes us all more successful.
Hey, look, it's hospitality.
Right.
It's not, as I think we may have talked before, we don't have our finger on the nuclear button. This is hospitality. And if we can't have fun and be entertaining, that's kind of the world we're in. So we just want to be relaxing and fun with the group, and I think we had that this morning for sure.
It's a great time, and I had trouble getting here, Glenn, because everybody's like, "Hey, can I have your autograph? Can I see you? Can I say hello, et cetera, et cetera."
That's pretty awesome.
Andy had mentioned a few minutes ago about the off years,
right?
And on the off years, we typically do what we called regional meetings. Those regional meetings would allow us to go from different cities throughout the country, interact with our franchisees, and focus on sort of operational issues. This year in 2020, we announced it on stage today, we're going to do revenue generation summits. Those summits will be in cities across the country.
Right.
But we're going to be focused on top-line revenue. How do we help you drive more revenue to your hotels? If a franchise is about anything, it's about driving revenue. So my entire team is focused on getting those rolled out next year. So we leave tomorrow afternoon, but on Monday we're starting on the agendas for those, and we'll have the announcements out in December.
And what I love is when you promoted it from the way that most people feel, through a funny commercial, right? A good takeoff on those horrible credit card commercials with the people that look alike but don't look alike, and and all of that. And it was just spot on parody of what you were trying to do, but while also addressing, I'm too busy, I can't handle doing it, and then really making the argument for why you should go and attend one of those summits. And I think it's a really great idea for everyone out there to try to figure out better ways to earn more money on
what's
the top
in your
line.
wallet, Glenn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sadly not too much these days. But what are you going to do? That's because I'm saving up to get my own hotel franchise one day. I'm not really, but that'd be really great if I did. So, a lot of great announcements this morning, guys. One of which is, hey, congratulations, you're getting up into Canada. And the thing that surprised me most about that is you weren't there already?
Yeah, it is surprising. And we've done surveys of Canadians, and Canadians think we're in Canada because we're in Detroit and Toronto and Seattle. And so they see us as a brand all the time, and they use us as a brand all the time.
Right. Was it 96% recognition of the Red Roof brand? So people just know you. You're a top of mind.
Yeah, they know us. And it's just taken, I talked a little bit this morning about our international strategy. And it always is to partner with the right person or the right team. And finally, in this last 12-month time period, Phil found the right people.
Well, we have a great team out there. They brought them, and they happened to bring Al-Noor Nanji and his daughter Shahina. Well, Al-Noor and I go back 20 plus years. Right. So it was like, wow, Al-Noor, how can we get this to start moving forward? But Shaheen is powerful. She's got great experience in the business, has been on a multitude of different panels, and she really asked the hard questions. So by the time we were done, we realized that it was just a great marriage. They came down to New Albany several times, agreed that this was the right direction for them for their major investment into the hotel, and we'll be opening by the end of the year. So really exciting. Great hotel. Fabulous location at the Calgary airport.
Yeah, and that's really great. I love Calgary, by the way, and it's going to be right at the airport.
Right there at the airport, and we have a great place to go for Stampede in July. So
exactly,
that's awesome. I like that, but you got to get up to Banff as well. If anyone is listening who hasn't been up there, wow, is that such gorgeous countryside?
Phenomenal, and it's only about an hour and a half away from Calgary. So
right. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with each of the brands. Maybe just start with Red Roof. The master brand, right? Because Andy, one of the things you were talking about is the master brand and that sub-brand strategy you have out there. So when you're thinking about Red Roof, what do you think is probably the number one thing at top of mind? To me, I think maybe it's the Red Promise guarantee that you've put out there.
Well, overall, and the Ready Promise guarantee really is overarching over all of the brands. But Ready Promise is just incredible. I mean, we see the other brands out there who are saying, if you find a price online that is better than the brand.com price, we'll give you 10% off, 15% off, maybe even 25% off. But we looked at that and said, why? Why not just give them a free room?
Right.
Because we are confident that you are going to get the best price. We have 100% confidence that you're going to get the best price on redroof.com. And once you know that, there's no reason to go anywhere else. So we've stepped it up, and all our competitors are just giving a piece of the room. Well, we're giving the whole room. Free room. You find a better price, fill out the form, we'll gladly give you a free room. We want you to be a loyal customer and book on redroof.com.
Well, I don't think I'm going to take the time because there's no point, because you guys are on point and you've already got all the IT in place to make sure that that's going to happen. So you're right. It doesn't make sense to me why every brand isn't doing that. And hopefully your competitors aren't listening too closely to this part
I
of the
don't
call.
know. We came out with it, and I can tell you the media was very interested because they're saying the same thing you did. Well, why aren't the competitors doing it? Are they not confident in their pricing? We are.
Yeah, I'm seeing ads that say book direct for all these other companies out there. If you want them to book direct, you need to, I think, incentivize the customer in a way that's really meaningful and connects them. And I think that guarantee gives people that sense of comfort that they are going to be doing that with you guys.
Exactly.
So where are we going with the development pipeline right now when it comes to Red Roof, Phil?
Well, you'd said you wanted to get saving up for your hotel. Well, now's the perfect time. We've been announcing Red Collection.
Yes.
And the pricing couldn't be better.
What about that? If I join right now, I can get 5 years free royalty?
5 years with 0% royalty.
All right, so how does that work? That sounds ridiculous. How did you guys pass that by the board? Because that doesn't seem very fiscally responsible there, Phil.
Well, we realized that there was a lot of interest in the brand.
Right.
We didn't want to mess around anymore and say, hey, look, let's negotiate something. These hotels are located in great cities. They're iconic, and they're going to be able to drive a multitude of customers to us across all of our brands.
Right.
So why not allow our franchisees to enjoy that? We've got the next 4 months where they can come in, sign, bring a property in, and join the system for free. So it made sense for all of us because it's going to help all of our brands across the system.
So how does that actually work? I mean, you say for free, but the skeptical side of me means, well, don't I have to do X, Y, Z in order to get up to speed with the brand? And how does all of that work really?
Well, from an investment perspective, there is no PIP because it's a soft brand. So if you have a high quality property that's been renovated or in great shape, getting reviews that are top of the system, then you're just going to basically come into the system after we get through the paperwork. Free is free. There's no royalty attached to it. So you won't pay anything from a royalty perspective for the first 5 years.
Right. And it sounds to me that it's just a real great way to increase the amount of bookings that you're going to be getting at your hotel. Now, I wasn't sure if it was for one of the brands or the entire company, but it looked like your contribution to reservations was 67% or something
overall
like that.
Contribution for the brand, it's the entire brand, is 67%.
That's phenomenal.
67%. So we do pretty, we have a pretty strong pipeline and distribution system. We're tied in with, every single possible way to book that you can do it. And, the typical Red Roof Inn still has a large percentage of the customer just walk up to the room.
That
walk up
me.
to the hotel. Still near 45 to 55%, depending on your location. So we do a good job of. We talked about that brand recognition, and that's how it happens. Is because they see the sign, they know the brand, they like the consistency and quality, and they drive in.
Yeah, that's phenomenal that you're able to pull that off. What about extended stay?
Extended stay, you heard this morning, extended stay is hot, and the Hometown Studios are doing really well. They, like most properties, you renovate them and then you run them right, and you make a lot of money. And that's really what's happening at Hometown. They renovated, they saw a big jump in revenue, and now it's a great opportunity for the franchise world to jump on to an economy extended stay. there's the home two, and that level of extended stay is getting a little saturated. So I think really the opportunity is in the economy segment.
So Phil, you're out there every single day, and you've seen this all of a sudden. It's one of those weird things. Like 3 years ago, nobody talked about extended stay, and I've been a big proponent of it because I think it really puts a lot of money straight to the bottom line. How are you seeing the development community and their understanding of the product and their understanding of what they could benefit from regarding an extended stay product?
Glenn, as you know, we take an enormous amount of time of listening to our consumers and our franchisees. And like the Red Collection, they ask for it. Like, you need to be in these center city areas for Red Collection. We need a soft brand that we can go into these markets and drive rate, but still benefit from the system, the entire Red Roof family of brands. Same with Hometown Studios. The consumer was asking for it. Our franchisees were asking for it because we're built on relationships. You heard that a lot this morning. Yep. And they're like, look, we don't want to go to the competition. Launch a brand in the segment so that we can stay with the Red Roof family. Right. So we've done that. The excitement has been phenomenal. We've signed a multitude of deals over the first 6 months. But what we've really been looking for is our new prototype. The prototype we've been working on for the last 6 months. We finished it about 2 weeks ago, and we're just working on final pricing. The numbers are coming in at about $55,000 a key to build this, plus land.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
There's some variable costs in there, but we're really excited about the value engineering of the product and what we're able to deliver. One, to our franchisees, because they're going to be able to build this at an affordable price. But better for our consumers, they're going to love the box and the way it's laid out.
So tell me a little bit about what that box is going to be like, because you need to have that. You need to have that kitchen area. You need to have a delineated living space, and then kind of a place to rest and sleep up, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a basic box in that sense. Certainly some communal area outside of the lobby, which a lot of the older product didn't have. Giving some outdoor space for activities and people getting together. The economy space for extended stay is a little bit different. When you talk about the upper levels, you're still getting a lot of 1 and 2 night stays. Economy level extended stay can easily average 30 nights.
Wow.
Per stay. So if you think about the economics of that, and you're cleaning a room once a week, and somebody stays for 30 weeks, you've cleaned their room 4 times in 30 days.
That's amazing.
Versus a upper end extended stay where you still might have a 2-night sort of average. You're cleaning that room, 15 times a month. The dollars just flow right to the bottom line.
And of course, less check-ins mean you need less, full-time people to begin with. And the other thing that I'd like to point out when talking about extended stay is the sales process becomes a little bit simpler, I think, because once you identify potential sources for long-term business, you don't have to sell the same room 30 times a month.
Right.
You only have to sell it a few times a month.
Right. Now, you'll obviously target a different customer.
Right,
you're targeting sort of that customer who's looking as an alternative, sort of more apartment, short-term apartment, because their home is being built or something like that. But once you get that pipeline, not only do you get that pipeline at it, and that person stays sometimes 6 months, a year, but the word of mouth is pretty powerful in that community. Because if it's a relocation company or it's a construction company or people are there for long-term construction jobs, that'll just flow through the whole organization, and you'll start to see some rapid pickup. I mean, you should be running occupancies for a well-run property in the mid-80s, upper 80s, and so you run that all year long.
Yeah, right.
You don't see these dips that, an event, you're up, and then the next week you have nothing.
Yeah, and one of the things is it seems to be more of that recession-proof type of a product.
For sure.
And you think about, what's happening with there are disasters out there, and people need a place to relocate sometimes for that as well. And I think a great sales thing is maybe we could start a website called divorcingdads.com or something like that. You can find out who's having marriage trouble and give them a room.
There is no doubt that dads let's just say, who are no longer welcome in their home, do tend to frequent economy extended stay. But they're great customers, and they're they're trying to find what's next for them.
And look, to make a really timely reference, we don't all have friends like Oscar Madison that'll take us in.
Right.
Look that up, kids. So Phil, what are you most excited about right now in terms of what you're seeing with hotel development, both here in Red Roof and just the general tenor in the industry?
I think this has been a really interesting year. It's been, for all the brands out there, it's been a little slow.
Yeah.
They haven't had the pace of sales that they've had in the past. There's less transactions out there in the space. So when things aren't selling, brands aren't changing.
Right.
People are happy. They're making money right now. So they're not reinvesting in their hotels, which I don't recommend.
Right.
When things are good, you should be renovating those hotels so that you're not sitting here when the
just
economy
mentioned
drops.
this to Andy ahead of time that I really wanted to talk about this particular topic because I really love to stress to people that you have to have the best quality property now, especially since the future outlook is a little bit fuzzier than if it was 5 years ago looking to the future.
Save your money and reinvest in your asset now,
right,
so that you can go through it. The nice thing about our brands is we're not everywhere. We don't have 6,000, 7,000 hotels amongst 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 brands. We've got our family of brands. So we still have a ton of growth to do throughout the Midwest and the West Coast with our core brands of Red Roof Plus. Hometown Studios is new. There's only 54.
Right.
Lots of open markets. And you'd be amazed how dated a lot of the product is out there in the extended stay space. So when you can come in with a new prototype associated with Red Roof, this iconic brand, as you said, 96% brand awareness, people are taking notice. We have people that are out there building the other products right now going, wow, you're in the space now, and you have that beautiful box. Let's sit down and talk. So we're excited about some big announcements this fall for multi-unit developers to come in and build a lot of the hometown studios.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Now Phil is smiling wide mouth, really big smile there right now because I think he's thinking about all of that runway he has in order to grow the company. But you've grown really rapidly over the last 5 years or so. You've gone from 300 open to now 700 open and in development. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We really have a phenomenal team. It's like no other place. When I bring in people from the outside and we're interviewing them, I said, if you don't like to have a hug, if you don't like to be part of a family, and actually you're going to fall in love with this place because it's such a special group of people. Not only in the offices in New Albany and throughout the country where our team's located, but our franchisees. You saw them in the crowd.
Yeah.
They love this brand.
Yeah.
They are engaged with it. When my phone rings, it's usually a very happy franchisee calling me to say thank you or say, hey, I have this great idea. And that is not the way it works at a lot of the other companies. I've been there and done that.
Right.
And so this is a pretty special place.
Yeah, Glenn, you heard this morning that we had, prior to this conference and prior to our last franchise survey, an 86% franchisee satisfaction. Right. And so we went out and we said, well, should we do it this year? Because it's pretty good to say 86%. But of course, we went out and rolled the dice, and it comes back at 90%.
That's
90% of our franchisees would recommend us again and want to do business with us on another project. I mean, it is just... That's not something other brands say, and they probably don't even publish or even do the survey because they're not going to get those kind of numbers. But we're confident because they just really love being part of Red Roof.
I think it shows. We just ran a franchise advisory council election for 5 new members.
Yep.
We'll have 5 leaving in December and 5 new. So for the last 2 months, we've run an election. There was a tremendous number of people that applied that wanted to run. The voting was through the roof, pardon the pun, and the people that won were actually 3 out of the 5 have served on the council more than twice.
Wow.
So not only did they go through the pain of serving a 2-year term, they've come back a second and a third time to serve the brand. They're traveling away from their families.
Yeah.
These are long days in meetings. We're throwing new ideas with them that we're trying to test with their opinion on, And it's this back and forth with a lot of work. And we meet 4 times a year, plus we make them, show up at brand conference and all the regionals and everything else. So it was pretty cool when I'm like, oh wow, 3 out of the 5 today are back.
All right, so how does all of that work with these folks? Because when you're testing something, I know you like to do in your managed properties, right? But you also like to use some other test properties as well. Is that when you go to some of these board members and say, hey, try this out, try that out?
It depends on the program. We'll not only use the board members, but we'll use other franchisees that maybe the product would be be tested better in this type of market versus that. So Marina, the marketing team, our design and construction team, we pick people from throughout the country. They're not always FAC members. They may just be franchisees that are raising their hand saying, hey, let's test it here. So, and you don't see that a lot of places either.
People love to help us test.
Really?
I mean, that is not a problem. We get people from all parts of the country, all levels of quality and revenue, and really to do a test that works, you have to have that, because if you only take the top performers and test with the top performers, you'll be like, oh, this works great. You need to see how it works across the system, where somebody might normally struggle with something like that, so you know how to train and test and really launch a product.
But we better want the feedback, because I tell you what, they're loud and proud. They'll pick up the phone and they'll tell you exactly what they think. So, we over the years have to become a little thick-skinned to say, wow, we thought it was great, but we need to adjust our strategy, move left, move right.
Well, that's
and
better than...
great. Oh, it's phenomenal.
That's better than being narcissistic about the whole thing and, creating an alternate reality around it, because that's not going to help you guys be successful.
If we roll out something that doesn't work, that's much worse than the pain of maybe 6 months to a year of testing it and rolling it out the right way.
For sure. People always have a tough time with criticism. Even when I try to be open to it, because I do want to do a better job at what I'm doing, but it still smarts a little bit. But if you don't have that positive feedback or negative feedback, you're never going to be able to improve. And speaking of improving, Andy, as the company continues to grow, how do you manage all of that growth that's out there? How do you make sure that everyone is still being able to be served that already operates hotels while bringing in hundreds of new properties over the years?
Yeah, we keep a great ratio of operations people to properties. So we're in that 40 to 45 to 1 range, which is significantly below our competition.
And they focus on one brand, right?
They could focus. Yeah, they generally focus on one brand.
But I mean, if you have only a few
regional sense.
If you only have the Red Collection hotels and there are only a few of them, you might jump them into
a little different than our competition. None of our brands compete. Hometown Studios is an extended stay product. Red Roof is our core traveler. Red Roof Plus is more focused in higher RevPAR markets with business. And then Red Collection, we're not looking to put them on Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania. We're looking to put them in major markets, resorts, destinations where people, they want to travel, and frankly, where they need to drive rate. They want to be part of the Red Roof family, but they want to make sure that they have the ability to drive rate and drive a different type of customer to their hotel, which is great for the entire brand, because when they leave Little Ord and Morris in New York, they're heading probably back to Ohio, and they have to hit all those red roofs across I-80 to get back.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So, but Andy, back to the question of expanding the company and keeping a sharp mind. As president of the company, you've got a lot that you need to think about. How does that work for you, for thinking about how to maintain today while building for tomorrow, and then anticipating the farther out future, in particular when it comes to issues such as technology investments and those sorts of things?
Yeah, when you say thinking about tomorrow, almost everything we think about is IT related. I'm sure I'm not alone, but it was several years ago. Our ownership came to visit, and I make my list of items I need to talk to them about, and everyone was IT related. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's when we realized we're an IT company. We certainly are providing hospitality and rooms, but almost everything we do, our customers transact with us through some sort of technology. Well, it's just the basic check-in at the front desk, and you heard this morning about us potentially rolling out some kiosk technology, or it's through your mobile website, and you heard this morning we're even though we redid that website 2 years ago, we're getting ready to roll out yet another version.
Right.
This is constant, and it's going to remain constant and happen more and more quickly. And so we're thinking ahead on IT, AI, all that sort of, all those opportunities.
So how do you keep it all straight? Obviously, you've got your tech team to bring you ideas too, but you also have to serve kind of as the overall visionary of the company. So how do you know what's going to be the hot next new thing, or is it really still, at the end of the day, sometimes just a gamble?
I wouldn't say it's a gamble. I think you have to listen to smart people, and you have to be educated.
Right.
What I do is I learn the technology. So it's one of those things where you can't allow anyone who's talking to you, giving you ideas, to be able to, pardon the French, but they can't bullshit you through the process. I mean, if you don't know enough to know where they're headed and what they're saying and does that make sense, then you really can't guide the company.
Yeah,
so
I'd like to know.
I dig in. I dig in.
I'd like to know why the French have become associated with filthy language. Right? I never understood that, but I like it.
That is a good question.
Yeah, right. These are the mysteries of the universe. Phil, on your side of things, how has technology in the last 5 years or so, let's just say since you came on board with Red Roof, changed the nature of what you do every day, if at all? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's still about relationships.
Well, it's pretty simple. If it doesn't work, I call Andy.
Right.
When I got here, I think ReadyStay was our proprietary system. That was probably the biggest hit. Our franchisees wanted to see improvement in that area. Today, it's not even a question that's raised any longer.
Right.
Andy has brought on a senior executive that heads up IT for us now. He does a phenomenal job, and I think that what they're doing in New Albany while we're out on the road working directly with our franchisees allows us the comfort to know that it's there.
Right.
All they want, the franchisees at the end of the day, they want to know what works, that the system's stable, and if something goes down, you have a backup plan.
Right.
And we have that.
Right. I mean, we've brought our PMS in-house. So for a company of our size, a hospitality company, that's just unusual. But we found that third-party IT companies often disappoint. And we feel we can be more realistic on the time frames, what can get done. We can prioritize it on our roadmap rather than the roadmap of somebody else who's building for other companies at the same time. So we've taken that risk, and we have developers in-house. It's a small team, but they are so committed that I think we get more done with our 12 developers than some companies do with hundreds.
It's fascinating that you're bringing these things in-house when the trend for the long time has been stick to your core competency, get everyone else to do the stuff that's not your core competency. But now you feel that it's hit that threshold that it's better to just bring it in?
Well, some of it is our core competency because it's ideas. It's like you talked about, well, what do you do with an idea? If you have an idea and you don't have control of the IT, you can't implement that idea.
Right.
Or if you want to,
fascinating.
The cost is either astronomical or the time frame it takes to get it done is, by the time you get it done, it's not an idea anymore.
Right. So
everyone else has it.
So just to rephrase what you're telling me, it is a core competency because if you didn't do it yourself, then it starts to become a lot more costly and a lot more troublesome. So maybe because
or generic, you get a generic solution that doesn't really work for your brand,
and that's the worst.
Yes,
because it doesn't espouse the brand ethos or some of the features that you need there. Now I got to tell you guys, switch up a little bit, and for all of you listening, you know Red Roof has been a great sponsor of our podcast now for the last year or so. And one of the lines that I say in all the commercials is genuine relationships, real results. And I got to tell you guys, I am feeling that here for real in a way that I didn't expect to. I shot some videos with some of the owners that you have, and each one of them pretty much underscored that exact point to me. What is it that you folks are doing that actually creates these genuine relationships that to me I see leads to a very productive back and forth open kind of relationship?
Well, can I just I'll give one example, and this is the example I give. It is not by any means the whole story.
Right.
But I'm there.
Yeah.
So at AHOA, I'm there the whole time. At this conference, I'm not leaving.
Right.
So it's all about having that contact.
Yeah.
Really, you can't have a relationship if you don't know the person. So if you're not there enough to ask not only about how's their business, but how's their family, and how was your flight in, and you need to have those relationships. And we have 550 franchisees, which means I got a lot of handshaking and families to ask about.
Yeah.
But it is the way you create relationships. That is not technology. Technology is not really what matters there. It's about looking somebody in the eye and having a conversation.
And if you're me taking a quick sneak peek at their badge sometimes when you forget their name.
Exactly. and I will tell you, when Phil got here 6 years ago, that is how things really change, because that's always been his way of looking at things, is really having, he says, I know this guy for 20 years. And he's known everyone in the franchise business for 25 years.
Right.
And it really is taken a culture that was relationship oriented already and moved it to the next level.
Right, and that's one of those things that the younger folks that are maybe those digital native people, they haven't gotten those decades of experience yet to have those real deep relationships. And I bet, Phil, you've got a lot of friends in this business. They may not be doing business with Red Roof today, but you've known them for decades, and you could go to them, and they're probably always open to hearing what you have to say. Well,
I think a lot of our growth has come that way already.
Right.
That we've went back to the people we've done business with in the past and said, come take a look.
Yeah.
Trust me, when I connected with Red Roof, I said, Red Roof, really? Let me take a look. And by the time I was done, I was like, wow, I have to join this team.
Right.
When you have the type of franchisee satisfaction combined with phenomenal brand awareness, add in 67% brand contribution, how do you lose? The skeptics out there are those people that have not signed with us or joined with us are like, can it really be like that? So I say, don't talk to my franchise salespeople. Talk to our franchisees. Call any of them. Even the ones that are troubled and have lost their way cannot say that they were unhappy. It's just they hit a bumpy road. They're still going to say great things about the brand. Mm-hmm. I hate this word C-suite.
Right.
We don't have them. Mm-hmm. We have C-level people. But where do you have access where the president, the CMO, the CIO, the CFO, myself, we're in the AHOA booth.
Right.
We're at regionals.
That's right.
We're at trade shows. We're at HLMA. We're everywhere. We're not sitting up in a suite at the lodging conference having people delivered to us to say, let's have a meeting. We're like, let's get down in the middle of it. If you want to meet, we'll meet after the conference, because that's what it's about. And I don't see a lot of my friends doing those like I used to at the trade show and event. They're I know they're there, but I can't find them.
At that event in particular, it used to be, I love that event because everybody used to be together, hanging out at the Biltmore and just kind of hanging out in the chairs and chatting and drinking and talking. And then, I don't know, 5-7 years ago, everybody started retreating to to their suites, and you don't see the big players as much anymore. But I'm sure Harry is changing everything for this year's conference coming up in just a couple of weeks right now. And
if you want to talk to us about Red Roof, we'll be there.
Yes.
So I'd love to talk to you about particularly Red Collection and the deal that we have going and get you into a hotel with no royalties for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I still don't know how you're doing 5 years royalty free for that. That's just a crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now
believe it.
Yeah. Now you mentioned troubled properties and stuff like that. One thing that you said on stage today was it's not like you're just going to be discovering these problems. It's you're probably already aware of some of the things because you have such a close relationship with your franchisees, and you're able to get in there and find the root cause of the problems in order to create the solutions, where I think there are some competitors out there that don't look at the root cause. They just say, this is a sickness, now you have to pay us a fine.
Right. It's a totally different philosophy here. Ultimately, we never want to see someone leave the system.
Right.
And when they do, it really disappoints me.
Right. And I'm sorry to interrupt you because there are brands out there that take pride in saying we get rid of 10% every year.
I would rather have 10% improve and
Right.
move up in in our quintile ratings or in their Q score. What happens? Someone joins a franchise system.
Yep.
They write a check. They're passionate about it. They're all excited. They come in and do their renovation. Then somewhere along the way, they may lose interest in that asset because they bought other hotels. They may have invested somewhere else, and they're not paying as much attention back to the hotel that allowed them to buy maybe a mid-scale or a luxury hotel.
Right.
So we have to remind them.
Right.
So what we've done, not only with our low ratio of franchise operations director to franchisee, I went and took one of our most senior people out of a role, and I said, Vicki, I need you to put a team together to go to these people that have lost their way and show them what they need to do to get back on track. And her success ratio has been phenomenal because it's too important for us to just say, cut the bottom 10% out. That doesn't work. I'd rather save the bottom 10%. You know, Glenn, we're the only brand out there where you can come in as a Red Roof and move up to Red Roof Plus.
Right.
Most brands, you move in
Right.
and move down and out.
Right. And they seem to be proud of having a lot of different tiers so they can, filter you through the system.
Well, I don't have the ability of taking them from one brand to another, so we have to save them. It's much easier to have that relationship and go mend it than it is to say to our SVP of sales, Matt Hostetler, okay, I need more on the top. We always want more on the top, but I don't want to lose anything on the bottom.
Yeah.
But sometimes the ownership just maybe isn't getting along, isn't really ready to invest.
Right. I kind of feel like that team is kind of like my Check It In co-host, Anthony Valkyrie, who does Hotel Impossible on the Travel Channel, because, she's coming in and she's doing all of that same stuff, but she has better hair. And what she's doing is she's like helping them, find their way again, both in the business and emotionally and spiritually, I think, as well.
Well, just a lot of times we find that they have now, when they came with us, maybe they had one or two properties. Now they may have 20 properties across various brands, and they just haven't been able to get back to that city and take a look. So we get a hold of the owners that have actually signed the franchise agreement. We go, come meet us in ABC City, and let's walk the hotel. I'll walk it with them myself. If we look at it, and it's either good or bad is bad and good is good. And the owners usually look at me and go, hey, you're right, Phil. I need to reinvest in this hotel. We've got to put some paint. We need to redo the landscaping. We keep it simple, but our PIPs are being done prior to opening. We don't have a lot of phased PIPs. When I got here, there was I'd say 70% of the PIPs were done over a 1 or 2 year period. Now I'd say 90% of the PIPs are done prior to opening because they realize get the hotel, invest in it, open it when the PIP's complete, and you get the biggest bang for a buck. That consumer walks in and sees the fresh flooring and the new big screen TV and the beautiful lobby, and bam, you've got a loyal customer.
Excellent. So I know you guys have to get going in a minute because we're in the middle of this big conference, and I can't believe you were able to dedicate coming on 40 minutes already to this conversation.
Only for you, Glenn.
I really appreciate that. He says that to all the reporters. But I do want to give you a chance. Is there anything that you feel that I missed that you need to get out? And then I want you guys to be able to plug away.
Yeah, I know we've said it several times, but of course we're in growth mode, but in particular, the Red Collection is a focus. And we're half joking, but not really joking at all. And the lodging conference would be a perfect time in 2 or 3 weeks here if people are interested in a soft brand that is really growing, that there's going to be some opportunity to get in and have a great deal. We're looking to do that with them.
That's fantastic. Phil, any final thoughts?
And he said it all, but I would just say if you're not part of the Red Roof family, come take a look. Look under the hood, because when I say we're different, we're different.
Right. How do we find you?
Well, there's a lot of ways, but go to Red Roof.
I mean, other than the help wanted poster in the post office.
I was just going to say, well, there's a lot. There's a lot. Go to redrooffranchising.com. All of our phone numbers are on there. My individual cell phone's on there. My email. We want you to reach us. So, and guess what? We pick up the phone.
Yeah, I love it. All right, yeah, there you go. Genuine relationships, real results.
That's right.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys for listening. I'll be back with another show, the No Vacancy Podcast, next week. That is, unless I finally decide to go open myself a Red Collection. See y'all next time.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.